Hi there, this is Elise Bennin, your marketing mentor. And this is the podcast for you if and only if you are ready to leave the feast or famine syndrome behind, and I mean for good. If your business was really slow during the first half of 2025 and maybe is still slow, then this episode is for you because you are not alone. It was a struggle for many Marketing Mentor clients and members of the Simplest Marketing Plan. But the good news is that very few of the people in my circle were freaking out. Know why? Because they knew what to do. They got to work on their outreach, their content marketing, and their networking. And guess what? It worked. It took longer than most wanted it to, but things have started to shift. And now many of these people have more work than they can handle because it's true that when it rains, it pours. I don't know why that is, but it does happen that way. And that is what happened to Maria Guerriero of Germinate Creative. And she reached out to me because she wanted to share how she handled the slowdown, what worked for her, and we even speculated about why it worked. So listen and learn. Hello, Maria. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Elise. How's it going?
It's going. Please introduce yourself, Maria. Who are you?
Sure thing. Hi, my name is Maria Guerriero. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the owner and lead creative at Germinate Creative. Germinate's a graphic design agency, and we work with nonprofits, foundations, and other social impact organizations by helping them with graphic design that connects to their causes.
And when you say we, tell us who you mean and also where you are.
Sure. When I say we, I like the collective we for Germinate because we often have projects that are not only me. Most of the time, that's a project manager. And I have a couple of project managers that I work with on different projects. I always hire people to do the things that I am terrible at and want to hire other people to do the things that are great at. And I'm in Portland, Oregon.
Awesome. And how's business, Maria?
Well, now it's good.
But
let me tell you, I'll tell you and everyone listening that around the election, things went really slow. So I should say that the business has been incredibly steady and profitable since the pandemic. And
how long have you been in business, Maria?
Sure. I've been independent for 15 years, but I've probably had this focus for about 10 to 12 years.
Okay. So a while.
Yeah, totally. And so things were, they were steady before then too, but I would say since the pandemic made me really get my stuff together a little bit more.
And we're talking it's the 1st of August, actually, 2025, just in case people are listening in the future to know which election you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. Let's be clear. That would have been the election of 2024.
Okay.
So things were pretty steady. And then just around the election, things just got really quiet. And I feel like I remember that from other elections. And, we'll try to remember that for a next big one. And business picked up a little bit at the end of 2024. But after that, once the new president came in this year, and also I think my focus on nonprofits and foundations, since there were so many executive orders, just doing whatever the administration could do to dismantle these organizations, that anything that was either in the pipeline or any kind of just communication just fizzled out. It just got very quiet for a very long time.
We've been working together quite a while also. And I remember one of the things you said to me during that period, which was about 6 or 7 months
Mhm.
of things being very slow. And I'm going to ask you to share what you did and how you handled it. But I do remember, and this was like the biggest win for me, because it always is when I hear a client say, you know what? I'm not freaking out.
Mhm. Yeah.
So start there.
Sure. And I mean, I'm not going to lie. There were a few moments there where I was like, what is going on? Although
Hmm.
I would say it was never at the expense of, well, I have to go do something completely different. Like,
Mm.
this is my job. This is what I do. This is a part of it. But as far as the freaking out thing is, I've freaked out a lot. I have freaked out a lot in the past, and it doesn't help. Like, it doesn't do anything.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Um,
In fact, it's probably harmful, I would think.
yeah. I mean, it's stressful.
Hmm.
So I just focused a lot of energy on things to do that could move the needle forward, both professionally and honestly personally
Hmm.
as well, because nobody likes living with stress.
Right. And so instead of freaking out, tell us some of the things that you did from, let's say, January through July
Hmm.
of this year, because the reason we're talking today is because things have turned around for you. And you said, we really have to create some content about in person networking. So talk about that, but put it in the context of the simplest marketing plan, because you've been basically doing your version of the plan for many years and you've internalized it by now. And so, how do you do? What is your marketing, Maria?
Sure. And I'll also share why I thought the in-person networking was so interesting. So the thing that always got me a lot of conversation with prospects was outreach. So that outreach is what we call the warm email prospecting. You know,
Mhm.
hey, I'm Maria. I love your organization. I love what you do. We have things in common. I'd love to chat. Do you ever outsource, graphic design, web design, illustration? And that has always been a very big win for me and hasn't taken very much to talk to a few people than that turning into work.
And actually, let me just stop you there, because one of the things I remember you saying several years ago, which I will never forget and I love, is you said outreach. It's a lot of work for a little return, but that little return is a lot of work.
Yes, I was just nodding my head for the fourth. Yes, it's absolutely 100% true.
What does
It is a
that
lot of
mean for people who, aren't kind of following along?
Yeah, and I hear people too, like I meet people like, how do I, meet? How do I get in front of? How do I don't know, like, have you tried outreach? And it is a lot of work because the work involved. So, what's the first step? It's a lot of work, meaning I got to go and find the organization I'd like to work with. Then I got to find the person who I want to talk to. Then I got to put them on a list and craft an email to them. Then I have to track when I reached out to them. And then I have to do that to 9 other people this month,
Hmm.
And then throughout the month, like follow up. Hey, did I follow up on this person? Did I connect with them on LinkedIn? So it's a lot. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of steps. Sometimes it feels like a bulk of it is just in the research and emailing and not hearing back.
Hmm.
Um, However, I have found that the little return that I do get back, those people tend to be folks who really are interested talking to, and then they turn into projects, and the projects, maybe it starts small, but maybe it leads to something a little bit more substantial down the line.
So
So
it's a long game, I hear you saying, and you don't really get any feedback for a while. So you have to keep doing it, keeping making the efforts. And even when you do, the feedback that you get, I mean, I usually say the expectation should be that out of 10 people that you reach out to, maybe one or two will actually respond, which doesn't feel like a lot. But again, as we're saying, it's actually plenty.
It's plenty because, I mean, unless someone's running a company where, well, I'll just put it in my perspective, which is it's not like I need a ton of clients.
Right.
Just need some good clients that have
Mm-hmm.
money to spend.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Okay, so you do outreach, and that has worked for you, but was it not working as well this time?
Correct. And I want to be also clear that I also do content, which is an email newsletter. And I guess LinkedIn's
Mhm.
kind of like a little bit of everything. It's
It
outreach,
is.
it's content. And then there's in-person networking. So yes, so the outreach has been something I've leaned heavy on because of its success. And also I think being the parent of a young kid, where going out, especially when they were really young, was just harder to do.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think the couple things that shifted were one, the outreach wasn't working. Like I was hearing from no one.
Mhm.
And I heard that from other colleagues who do what I do, especially in the types of clients that, with the nonprofits and the foundations. And I was like, well, this isn't working. So let me channel my inner Elise. Um, and go out and do some in-person networking. And for a while there, like at least once a week, I was going to something and it was awesome. It has been really, really great.
So
And
give us some details about like how do you find the places to go? What kinds of things do you go to? Who do you meet there? What makes it so great?
yeah, totally. So I feel fortunate to live in Portland where there's always something going on,
Mhm.
whether that be like professional or personal or weird or not weird. It's just like, it's so much. So I guess the best way I can answer that is just to talk about a few of the events where I was like, wow, this is really great. What a great concept. And one of them I think it's called Magnet. And I can share who does it. It's this person in Portland. I think he does it every month. And the concept is you get a number and, a name thing. What do they call it? You put your name
Name
on it.
tag.
Thank you. And then everyone has an ask. So my ask was, I'm looking I'm looking to connect with for-profit organizations that have some sort of social impact. Because
So let me just stop you there because you've been talking about nonprofits and foundations, but part of what you were shifting this year was experimenting with a variation on the markets that you have experience in, right?
correct. Yes, exactly. Because, being in that world, and I will continue to be in that world, but the fact that funding was just so terrible.
Hmm.
And I shouldn't say funding was terrible. It was just that people were scared to spend money.
Right.
So, and
So
yeah, so
you shifted to a for profit angle, basically, on what you're calling social impact.
yeah, social impact, social good, exactly.
Hmm.
And so this magnet networking event, the concept is everyone goes, they put an ask on a piece of paper. Mine was I'm searching how to network with for-profit social good organizations. Someone else put like I'm a project manager and I'm looking for work, and so, all sorts of different
Hmm.
things. The idea is that you get like stickies and you would say I went to someone else's ask and I'm like, oh, I could help them. Like someone was like, how do I grow my business? I'm like, hey, I'm kind of good at that.
Hmm.
So I would put my number on there and then that person would come and find me. And if someone
Hmm.
put their number on mine, I would go and find them. It
Hmm.
was like such a great concept. And I met so many people and it was not like nonprofit associated, although I like those events, but it was just it was a nice, easy way to talk to people and to
Hmm.
help each other. I loved
Hmm.
it.
Sounds very cool. And I'm thinking a listener might be wondering, well, could anyone show up at that? Like, was it for a specific group? And then, of course, Are you the type of person who has trouble at networking events? So the fact that there was a very structured exercise can make someone who's an introvert or uncomfortable much more comfortable because it gives everyone something to do.
I always have this thing like, ugh, I gotta go to a networking thing. I gotta put on the clothes. I gotta do the hair. Maybe I put on some lipstick. Oh my God. My kid is like, don't go. When are you coming back? And my husband is very supportive. He's like, go, just go,
Go.
just go. Yeah, get out of here. But I've always been very comfortable at networking events. I don't mind talking to people I don't know. However, having that activity at this particular event was nice because it kind of removed that step of like, hey, there's me kind of to join into this conversation. I don't know who I'm talking to. And so I really liked that. And then you asked, can anyone? I think so. It was an email. And this person is, I don't know, I think he's like a financial advisor, but he's just like, I just thought this was a good idea. So I did it.
And has something concrete come out of that particular experience? Or are there other stories you could tell us about why you're saying that in-person networking is really the thing at the moment? What's working?
Well, yeah. Well, let me tell you something. I think it's for me right now, it's more of you talk about the woo woo,
Yes.
which I have an idea as to what it is, the practical part of my brain. But to answer your question, I don't think any of the work I have right now is because of the in-person networking at all. And the woo-woo part of it is that I've just been doing a lot of outreach and networking and getting on LinkedIn and all that. The work that I have now, one of my current clients, where at the beginning of the year, we were going to work on a bigger branding project. And then when the executive orders came out, they were like, I'm so sorry, we can't spend that money. About maybe a month, 2 months ago, I'd say, they said, you know what, we got extra money, let's do it. So that happened.
And I assume you stayed in touch with them or they got your newsletter also.
Yes. And we were working on some other smaller things throughout the year. And by the way, I just presented to them some concepts and they loved them. And it's so exciting. I love it. I love what I do. I love my clients. Something else, they were actually referred to me from this first client that I'm talking about. They're both health foundations. And this other one needed a hand and they showed up. The really woo-woo thing, it was a very big project showed up. And it was an organization I did maybe a little bit of work for. It's an agency. And they, had their client had a good budget for this project. And it's a pretty quick turnaround. But it really tipped the scales. That made me feel more comfortable for the next few months. So none of these were a result, but we talk about the woo-woo. I think it's more that I think, yes, sure, there's the energy of like putting myself out there in the world, right? But there's also the energy of getting on LinkedIn and commenting and making connections. And I maybe hope, imagine that whoever's thinking about me to do something, they might go on LinkedIn or they might go to my website and just kind of see what I'm up to. So I think that's a part of it as well.
One thing I'm thinking also is that when things are slow and you're taking action instead of freaking out, there are certain actions you can take that kind of reinforce the isolation. And I think outreach is one of them. And then there are other actions you can take that where you get feedback, like in-person networking. And even if someone doesn't say, oh my God, where have you been all my life? We have an enormous project that you're perfect for. And something, that connection is made right there. At least you are interacting with people. And there's a different feeling that keeps you motivated and active, I would think. Does that ring true for you?
So yeah, if I'm picking up what you're putting down, it's like, well, if not, yeah, I'm slow, but I'm being proactive, and something comes up, and I'm just like, sure, let's talk about it, let's do it. But you actually said something that this might not have anything to do with anything we're talking about right now, but I think it's important.
Tell me.
Is I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I was slow. I don't know what, but I feel like this is the first year after all these years that I have this immense confidence in what I do. And
Hmm.
maybe it's because when I was slow, I didn't freak out.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's because I have a big network of people to rely on. I don't know. But some of these, like, kind of bigger projects for pretty big organizations came through, and maybe it was the going out and networking. I just felt so much more confident whenever talking to, if it was a prospect, or say the client that needed extra work. I don't know if that has anything to do with maybe the going out and meeting people. And now that I'm talking about it, when I was going out here in Portland, I kept bumping into some of the same folks.
Mm-hmm.
It made me think, all right, cool. I've got a network here. I know what I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm ready for whatever to show up.
So one of the things I hear there also is I'm not alone in this. I've got support, I've got people. And again, the difference between, and I feel like it's a choice, a mental choice that you made, and maybe it was conscious and maybe it wasn't, but everyone has the possibility of making this choice, which is, oh my God, nothing's working. This is the beginning of the end. Or I'm going to go out. I'm going to do everything I can. Look at all these people. Oh, I do have a network. Oh, yeah, things are happening. I'm not actually getting work yet, but something keeps moving you forward. And I do think, again, that is a choice.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's comforting too, to go
Mhm.
out and to meet with people and to say, hey, things are slow. I know they're really slow.
And actually, that's a good point because I know that some people who are slow or who were slow are like embarrassed to
Mm,
admit it. Were
yeah.
you? Why weren't
No,
you, if not? Yeah.
it's not my fault. You know? It isn't. I mean, I was doing everything I had to do. The only thing I could think of, no, it's not my fault. It wasn't my fault that, the whole, because it was everyone, the economy and people spending money just, you know,
Yeah.
got all
But
caca.
but
So
I think a lot of people don't want to appear desperate and they feel desperate, or they don't want to appear needy. And so they don't want to say how
mm,
things really are.
yeah, I could see that. But the thing is like, yes, and sure, I was desperate. Don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
I mean, was I really desperate? I mean, kind of a little bit. My revenue had dropped by 50%. I mean,
Hmm.
that's a lot
Yeah.
to be struggling with that for 6 months.
But you had savings.
I had savings, and I need to point out too that my husband took on some freelance work himself
Hmm.
on top of working full time.
Good, because that's what you
So
need to do sometimes.
that's what you need to do sometimes. And now I'm really busy and he's a little bit slower. So, it all
Hmm.
kind of works out. But we were talking about not appearing. I mean, I don't think it's a good idea ever to appear desperate, but I think it's okay to say, I'm open and I have availability, because maybe that other person you're talking to needs something
Hmm.
or knows someone that needs something. Or there were times I would tell people this and they would say to me, oh, really? I didn't know that. Now that I know, thanks for telling me. I'll keep you posted if I see anything come up.
Right, because often people assume you're busy, especially if you're on LinkedIn and posting a lot. I find that people tell me, oh my God, you're obviously doing so well because you're on LinkedIn a lot. Like, what is that connection that people make in their brain?
What is that connection? Well, I mean, I think with the LinkedIn stuff, that's social media. It is a social media platform. So, people just assume things that are happening. They're like super specific and like imposter syndrome and stuff. So, yeah, that's a really good question. I'd have to like.
No, and it's a rhetorical question. I don't expect you to know the
Oh,
answer, but I just think it's really interesting that I notice people making this assumption. Oh, you're spending a lot of time on LinkedIn. You must be really busy.
yeah.
And if people assume you're really busy, then they may have a project for you, but think, oh, she doesn't have time for me because obviously she's really busy.
Yeah.
So it helps to let people know not that you're desperate, but that you have availability.
Yep. I was just going to say, in the outreach that I was doing on top of the networking and stuff, I would say to folks, hey, I've got availability, small projects, big projects. You let me know if you need anything.
Mm-hmm. So we do need to wrap up, but I want to ask you one last question because if people are in this position, maybe feeling a little desperate, maybe things haven't picked up for them yet, what's a baby step you would recommend they take to move toward what you're describing?
Oh, that's a good question. I always go back to the three things in the simplest marketing plan,
Mm-hmm.
which is outreach, networking, and content.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think a baby step is to find someone to talk to, like,
Mm-hmm.
someone that you might want to work with, or a colleague that does the same thing, or, just someone you follow on LinkedIn, or, just say, hey, would you ever want to just get a virtual coffee or go grab a coffee or go for a walk and chat? I really think that's just like making a connection with someone and actually talking to them in real time.
Mm-hmm.
I also did that a lot too during my slow time, go out for
Mm-hmm.
coffees and get, virtual people who I've been wanting to talk to for years. And I'm like, hey, we should finally meet up.
Mm-hmm.
And those are always really great conversations. So just find someone to talk to. It can be someone who does the same thing. It could be someone maybe you want to work for. Just get out there and meet one person, or
Mm-hmm.
stay home and do a Zoom. Just do one thing.
So, in a way, again, the thread woven through the whole conversation that I am hearing has to do with the choice between isolation and engaging with the world.
Yeah. I think it's always a good idea to engage with the world
Yeah.
for many multiple reasons. That's good for our mental health. It's good. And I will say, to go back to the actual in-person networking, now that I've been doing it a lot, it just feels really good. You
Mm.
know, I just love being around those people and meeting people. But yeah, and you don't have to do it all day, every day. There's definitely time for downtime as well. I get that.
Mhm.
But definitely, like, there's always something to learn from someone, and there's always something to give to someone else.
I love that. That's a kind of a nice networking mantra. So, that's also a perfect way to segue to tell the people where they can find you online, Maria.
Sure thing. My business is Germinate Creative, and that's the website, germinatecreative.com. Not Germany like the country, okay?
Okay.
Germinate like seeds. And I'm also on LinkedIn.
Beautiful. And spell your last name for us, Maria.
Okay, sure thing. It's Guerrero, Guerriero.
Never remember whether the two R's come first or second, but you're reminding me.
Two R's come first, and there is an I. That's the I is the
Right.
part that people forget about.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Maria, for suggesting that we have this conversation, for just joining me and sharing everything you've learned, and for being such an amazing client.
Aw, thank you, Elise. Love knowing you. I love being around you. And my business has grown so much thanks to your help.
I'm glad to hear that. That makes me happy. Awesome. All right. Well, I will see you soon. I just love how real and honest Maria is. I'm sure that's one of the things her clients love too. And her baby step is a good one. Talk to someone. I love that because one of the biggest misconceptions about marketing, what so many people fail to realize is how important relationships are when it comes to getting clients. It's not about your design style or your writing ability. It really isn't. It's about who you are and how you show up as a professional, yes, but also as a human being. And that need will only get stronger as AI permeates our world. So things, they are a-changin'. But if you want my help figuring all of this out, then I hope you'll take advantage of my free mentoring session. You can find that and lots more resources, including my simplest marketing plan, at marketing-mentor.com. So enjoy, and I'll see you next time.